Alright, so into game 3 we go. Back to pick bands. I would assume we're not going to see Lux getting through after that showing, but we'll have to wait and see what they ban. So yeah, first ban goes. So we've switched sides now. Kelvin, as losers, had first pick of side, so they took red side. Or sorry, blue side, which gives them first pick as well, and first ban. So they insta-ban the Lux, and everyone's going to stick with the Blitzcrank ban. We haven't seen it get through yet, because they've banned it every game, and they're fairly confident in that pick, apparently. Heading back to Kelvin, they ban the Nocturne again, so another respect ban against that first Nocturne. They don't want to see that game happening. And if we head back to Nirul's side, they're sitting on their second ban, trying to make a decision here. What are they going to do? Gotta wonder if there was something from the last game they didn't like that they were going to ban out, or if they're going to stick with some of their bans from the first game in those lanes that they didn't like very much against the Sona, or if they have something else in their back pocket they want to try and get rid of. Oh, almost timed it. Oh, so Yi decided that the Master Yi was something they didn't want to deal with. I mean, he was doing well. He was scaling up. They were going to get there, but they didn't manage to hold on quite long enough to hit that late game fantasy of Yi and Yorick online, or Yi and Nasus online. Sorry. So back to Kelvin. They've got their third ban here. So they got rid of the Lux in mid. They got rid of the Nocturne in the jungle. Is it another respect ban, or is it something else they're thinking? Something we've seen today, or is it something they don't want to see come out against them? It's wrong with 3 bans, there's way less options. Alright, so they're going to ban the Talon. So they're worried about a Talon in the mid, so it must be a... haven't seen one of those yet, so maybe that's a scouting decision, maybe that's something against their team comp. We'll have to wait and see. Back to Niverville's side. The Galio ban. So they have played Galio 2 out of their last 3 lanes, and I guess they decided that they weren't in the mood to see that again. And the Cho'Gath, a highly contested top pick this game. Cho'Gath gets first picked by Kelvin, and Isaiah picks up Mordekaiser as the counter. Zaya locked by Rocket Rush, so he is feeling comfortable on Zaya. That was a much better farm game, and he was picking up some kills at the end, so he must be feeling happy with that. Be interesting to see the Mordekaiser versus Cho'Gath and see how that lane pans out. Back over to Kelvin. They've got their jungler and the Earl of Weeb sitting there. Let's see what they're looking at this game.
There goes the door.
What?
I hear something.
So they lock Rise into the mid lane, and they're going to take Ashe again. So they're going to have that poke 80 carry back that Zaya had such a hard time with earlier. But instead of... now they're going to couple it with a little more CC. So they're going to have Leona now as their support again, and they're going to run an Ahri mid against the Rise. Now that lane should go in Ahri's favor. He's got a little more range and a little more crowd control and a little more reliable harass, whereas Rise has to go, can't shoot his skill shot through a minion wave. And it looks like Kelvin's going to be rocking the Warwick jungle, and they're going to pick up a Mumu again. So if we're going to look at our lane matchups here, you've got Cho'Gath versus Mordekaiser. Now, this is going to be a tough one for Mordekaiser, I would think. Cho'Gath has got the range, he's got the passive sustain, he's going to build that Rod of Ages, and be tough to kill. That being said, Mordekaiser does scale up a bit, and his Q can hit like a truck, but the problem is that he's melee. And so getting to closing to melee distance against Cho'Gath can be tough, and if you do finally get there, he might just silence you, so you can't use some of your abilities. So that could be a bit of a tough match for Mordekaiser, but he does have the ability to pull champions straight out of the game using his ult and isolate targets if he needs to. So if he finds someone he can kill pretty easily, or even if there's just a priority target he wants to get rid of. Let's say Nautilus as a support is giving you a bunch of problems. Just ult him before a fight starts. Now he's pulled out, their team has lost all their crowd control, and then you can go. In our bottom lane, we've got Zaya and Leona against Nautilus Ashe. So Ashe has got the poke, and Nautilus has so much crowd control. He's an absolute nuisance to try to work around. And as we saw earlier, Zaya had a really hard time dealing with the Ashe Q and the poke damage. Now they don't have it partnered with Sona this time. And so that's a bit of an advantage, because Sona's poke coupled with Ashe's poke is really overwhelming. Nautilus doesn't have that much poke damage. But you do have to be careful. If Nautilus pulls you in, you're going to be rooted and you're going to take a bunch of damage. The trade-off to this is now they've got Leona support as well, which is also a boatload of crowd control. So if Nautilus does get the pull, Leona could always just turn to Ashe, lock Ashe up instead, and make sure Ashe can't get damage out during that trade. In our jungle, we've got Warwick versus a Mumu. Warwick is...
do you know what this says?
It says... what does it say? Webbed Wonder, because it's Spider-Man on your socks.
Why does it say web to wonder?
Because he's the Webbed Wonder. He shoots webs.
No, it's like this.
That's what I did. Anyway, our jungle match with Warwick versus Amumu. Warwick will for sure have the advantage in clear speed, high health, but he can't gank as well. He needs to close that gap again, which is going to be tough against an Ahri who's got dash and a charm, against a Leona who can just stun you in place. Mordekaiser might be the only lane he can gank reliably, and that's going to be because of if the Cho'Gath can land his lockup. Once Warwick hits 6, he can get in really well, but he's all single target. Amumu's band-aids up almost the whole game through, and when he gets in, his ult's going to lock your whole team down. As you saw last game, he can pin people in place and allow the rest of your team to pick targets. So I'm going to give the advantage to Warwick in the early game just for clearing farm and getting farmed up. But if Amumu's using his ganks properly, he could make a bigger difference on the map. Into the mid lane, you've got Ryze versus Ahri. Again, this one should go primarily to Ahri. Her Q can go right through the minion wave and do true damage on the way back. Ryze's Q stops at the first minion it hits, and you have to burn abilities to make that spread, and even then it's not guaranteed damage. So Ahri should be able to harass at the same time she's poking. Although Ryze will have a faster wave clear late game, Ahri's will be a little more reliable into the early game. And so Ryze can be extremely dangerous. He will eventually outscale Ahri, but Ahri's sheer mobility might help keep her in the fight and picking off priority targets here. So we'll have to wait and see how things go, but it looks like Cho'Gath should have the advantage in top. It looks like Niverville and Ahri should have the advantage in mid. And bottom lane probably is going to go to Kelvin with that Ashe poke, but we're going to have to wait and see which support can lock up the other team more efficiently. And which jungler puts pressure on the map. So it's never a guaranteed thing. Just having a small advantage in the lane doesn't guarantee you will win. There's so many other things going on between where your jungler stands, between how your support plays, between how much harass you take and how well you're positioning. Just having a sheer positional advantage doesn't guarantee you a win. So if we check out our skin battle here, we've got Woad Ashe on the side of Kelvin. And on the side of Niverville, we have the Infernal Amumu, the Stargarden area, the Project Leona, and the Lord Mordekaiser. Almost a full set of skins. Well done. And into our, probably more importantly, our mastery scores. So Woad Ashe has got a level 4 mastery, and Cho'Gath has level 4 mastery, so they're both comfortable on those characters. As we saw previous games, Cho'Gath played quite well, and so did the Ashe, so they know what they're doing. Ryze, Nautilus, Warwick, however, mastery locked, so not as much experience on those champions. Over on the side of Niverville, our Ahri's got a level 6, so quite a bit of experience on Ahri. And Amumu, of course, level 7. As you saw last game, he did not miss a lot of band-aids, and his ults were fairly on point, and he managed to secure a lot of those objectives. So you can see the experience, coming through on Amumu last game. Alright, so we're into the Rift, so let's get our scoreboard up here.
I see the players.
The players just haven't loaded in yet, but just give it a second. They'll show up soon. And then we'll let's get our scoreboard realigned. Mordekaiser, Cho'Gath. We got Ryze in the mid, Ashe in the bottom, Leona support, Zaya at the bottom. Tops, jungles, mids, supports, 80 carries. Perfect. Now we can see them. All right. Make it for an easy comparison later on as they're side by side. All right, so when we go in, it looks like once again Isaiah has not connected. Fantastic start. Cho'Gath's got the typical start of a Doran's shield and a health pot. It looks like they're pinging now. Kelvin's going to ping a red side invade. Oh, no, now they're pinging the blue side invade. Let's wait and see what happens here.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like Mordekaiser has connected, so he is in, and he is buying the Doran's shield. Yeah, it looks like Kelvin's going to go for the invade this time. You can see that Niverville has not set up their invade defense. Nautilus was late coming to the show, so they don't have anyone watching the jungle entrances. Usually they're quite good at setting up invade defense, and this time they did. Oh, never mind. Niverville's on red side. Niverville's got the invade, and it's Kelvin that hasn't set up invade defense yet.
Haven't set up where?
There's the ward, there's the fight. So it's 2 versus 5 in the bottom lane. They've got one. They're splitting their damage right now, which is not ideal, but they get 2 flashes out. So they have more crowd control. Oh, is it going to be enough? It's enough. First blood goes over on the Mordekaiser. So the invade pays dividends again, as Kelvin does not set up invade defense and does not have vision where they need it. Now Niverville's got a choice. Are they going to stay and take this, or are they going to back and play it safe? Looks like they're going to stay and try and steal this red buff. And Kelvin didn't actually drop a ward anywhere, so they're actually not sure if Niverville's backing and accepting first blood, or if they're actually going to stay for the jungle. So Warwick's got a choice to make. Do I try and get back my red buff in time? But if it's wrong, and it looks like he is, if they take red buff and get out, that's going to set Warwick's jungle path way behind. So jungle, he's closing the gap. Amumu misses his flash and manages to secure it and gets out right before Warwick arrives. So Warwick has no red buff. So that's going to set his jungle path behind quite a bit. Also, they did get the AD carries flash, and I'm glad to see Amumu pinging that out. Oh my goodness, that is just saucy. He's got his level 2, so he's going to invade and get another kill on their jungler. So Warwick is going to be super far behind now, and mid lane didn't manage to collapse in time, and so that's going to set Warwick so far back in the jungle. He's not going to be able to put pressure out anywhere on the map now. So Amumu doing a great job of making sure Warwick can't even start this game. Mordekaiser taking some damage top lane, but he does have a kill to his name, which is going to make up a lot of the problems he has dealing with CS against Cho'Gath.
Dad, who's that smash?
The big smash guy? His name's Mordekaiser.
Oh.
Yeah, looks like Cho'Gath is trading with Mordekaiser, which is not going to come out in Mordekaiser's favor in the top lane, but he doesn't get solo killed. He is out. They're almost tied in CS, which is interesting. But again, Cho'Gath has been pushing really hard. He's going to force Mord to farm under his turret, and farming under turret is not the easiest thing. Nautilus does a good job of cleaning up that cannon, making sure he gets the gold for it as well as his AD carry. Oh, there's the first pull, gets the lockup, gets the root. Heal comes out early, trying to get the AD carry out, and the AD carry flashes to save his life. So that's 2 big summoners off that engage, and that's not even a huge thing off of Nautilus. Like, his pull's on like a 10-12 second cooldown or something. So he pulls him in and manages to bait out a heal and a flash for it. And Xayah for sure is going to have to back, and you can see the CS advantage already. Ooh. The owner managed to get out. Without an AD carry, he's just standing there trying to soak some experience, which is the right call. But this is the worst time for that engage to have happened, because Xayah is now going to lose a double wave of casters. Now, Leona's going to soak some experience there, and you can see that jungle was in the area, but Kelvin's got vision up in the bush, so they know it's there. Mordekaiser, interesting enough, pulls the trigger on the engage when he's at half health and doesn't manage to do anything to Cho'Gath, so that was probably not his greatest move there, but he gets out alive, and he's actually ahead in CS. Now, the nice thing with Mordekaiser is that his abilities don't cost mana, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you die, yeah, so he's going to have to back and heal now, but, I mean, that's why you take teleport when you're a melee. Gives you the advantage to return to lane. He doesn't return to lane. That's a free kill for Cho'Gath if he wants it. Cho'Gath doesn't have Ignite, though. He does have teleport. But if Cho'Gath hits his level 6, he's dead for sure, but that's a little ways away. I don't know. I still think it's a bad choice to stay. If I was Cho'Gath, I'd be backing and using my teleport. Or if I was Mordekaiser, sorry, I'd be backing and using my teleport. Oh, he healed up quite a bit. I'll wait and see how this goes. Oh, I guess he had his heal potion ticking is probably what it was. Alright, so again, CS in the bottom lane, 23 to Ashe, or 24 to 12. So he's up 2-1 in CS right now. And a lot of that's off the back of the threat from Nautilus pull, causing him to lose that first double turret. And their Pixel Bitsy? Is that their jungler? Had to disconnect? He had to go. Uh-oh. That's too bad. Hopefully they have a... Alright, so they're going to 4v5 it. I mean, to be fair, it's not... I have seen teams lose 4v5s before. It's not it's uncommon, but it's not impossible. Oh! So that's why it's nice to make sure you have a nice deep roster of players that can play. Like we had a different mid laner for our first game because we had one guy who was going to show up late. And I mean, if Isaiah's computer had actually crashed, we could have subbed someone into top if we had to. I try to make sure whenever I'm running a team, I have at least 7 or 8 players on it. Because no one's going to make every game. You got to have that depth there, especially for a playoff game, to have someone extra to sub in, because you hate to see that. My hope is, though, that Kelvin can still put out a solid effort even without their jungler. And it looks like their bottom lane is going to put up a fight for sure. I got to say, though, I'm impressed by Mordekaiser in the top lane. Even with all the harass coming out from Cho'Gath, he's actually managed to stay in it quite well. And even though he's at half health, Cho'Gath's out of mana, which means he doesn't have much threat left. Because Mordekaiser doesn't require mana, he can just stay there and continue to farm. Now, he's not going to be able to kill Cho'Gath, because Cho'Gath's passive just keeps healing him every time he kills a minion. It actually gives him some mana back. But it looks like Mordekaiser's managing to stay in this pretty well, and actually winning the farm fight, which I'm surprised. I don't think I've seen Isaiah on Mordekaiser before, so good job there. If we take a look at our mid lane, Ahri is at 49 to 15 in CS, which is kind of what we expected. Like, there's a lot of early harass against Ryze. He doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have any ability power yet. He's all mana. So he doesn't have the raw ability to shove lanes yet. And he can't really harass Ahri. So Ahri can basically free farm that lane and harass at the same time with a lot of her abilities. So that's a pretty solid mid lane showing by Ahri there against Ryze. Yep, so there's a little extra harass off. 2 pieces of harass off. Yeah, Mordekaiser's doing a good job using his limited range, which is just his 2 abilities that don't hit that far, but using those to make sure that Cho'Gath takes a beating every time he goes for a minion. Yeah, so he's always getting his passive up, making sure that shield is ready to go, so if Cho'Gath does pull an engage, he doesn't take too much damage. There's Ryze, gets charmed, and there's the trade. Half his health for 2 minions. That's what you got to watch out for. If you're not behind your minion wave, you're going to get hit by the charm. If you are behind your minion wave, you're allowing Ahri to farm and harass with a Q. So you got to be really careful against Ahri. She can be difficult to lane against. If Ryze can survive it and get some farm, he will outscale. He hits a lot harder. Oh, there's it. And that's probably a dead Ryze. Yep. So a solo kill onto Ahri. So well played. Managed to pinch off the Ryze into a lane where he didn't have a lot of room to dodge. But now you see top lane, Mordekaiser gets engaged on by Cho'Gath, gets the shield stacks up, but can't pop it before Cho'Gath eats him. So first kill, a solo kill onto Cho'Gath. And that more than makes up for the CS difference. A kill generally is considered to be worth about 15 minions. So that actually gives him a lead in his lane now. Never mind, they're both at 1 kill because of the first blood. So that actually helps. It just helps even the gold deficit a bit. But you can see in terms of items, Cho'Gath now has a catalyst, and that's a big item for him. That allows him to have a lot of sustain. Interestingly enough, Nautilus pulls the trigger underneath the turret, has to use flash to get out, and Ahri's roam cleans it up. So a really poor choice to engage against a turret at that low of a level, and it actually ends up passing a double kill onto Ahri. You need to have armor if you're going to try and jump under the turret, and Nautilus has a cloth. And so the turret still hits real hard, and he took too many hits to try to flash to get out, and by then Ahri had already roamed bottom. So Ahri is using her advantage to not just harass Ryze and get him out of the lane, but to then roam and make another lane win as well. And that is exactly the way to win a game of League of Legends. It's not enough to win your own lane. You have to convert that advantage into another lane. If you can win 2 lanes instead of 1, that's the way you do it. And so she has won her mid lane pretty solidly, just because it's a good matchup. But she's not content with that and is making sure she wins another lane and helps our bottom lane catch up as well. So that gives Xayah a chance to farm up to close that gap a bit. It gives her assist gold and helps her catch up. It kills Ashe, which means she can't be farming for a while, and it really helps even that lane out. Now Xayah hasn't backed yet, or did Xayah back? I missed it. There's a fight in top lane, so they're going to go toe-to-toe here. Mordekaiser's going to have a pretty hard time. Ooh, Ahri gets a nice engage. But Mordekaiser ends up popping the seal and soaking a bunch of that back. And Amumu returns. Oh, Nautilus goes in as Ashe goes out. And so that's probably going to be a dead Nautilus now. But there's still a fight top lane. Cho'Gath managed to take Mordekaiser down to a 3rd health and then eats him again. So there's the engage, there's the Amumu ult, there's the Xayah ult. You get a flash out of the AD carry and they get half his health. Does manage to stun Leona up under the turret though, and she might get a return kill. Oh, she backs off before the return kill can happen. Xayah's taking a ton of CS damage. Actually managed to take like, some turret hit, or some tank hit, sorry. But both survive, and Amumu's now taking tank. They can't stay here. There we go. That's a good choice. If Ryze ulted bottom, they were probably dead. Or if their top lane had teleported. So they got very lucky there that they didn't pull tank. Oh, what a cheeky move by Ahri, attempting to kill him behind his own turret. But he's just trying to find a safe way out. I'm a little worried about the engage, so I think he's got it now. If he stays with that much health, Ahri is going to kill him, so he's going to have to back eventually. So she's just keeping him what they call effectively dead. He's not actually killed, you don't get the gold for it, but he can't defend. And so as long as he's effectively dead, that's buying Ahri time to shove the wave, so when he does finally back, he loses a bunch of minions. Okay, so Amumu finds the AD carry alone, trying to get some wards, manages to smite her up, but Nautilus uses all of his crowd control to buy her a way out. You can see him body blocking now, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Nope, Amumu snipes it. You did see a quick kill there from Ahri up in the mid lane. Did manage to dive him. The minions hit and he hadn't backed, so she just dove the turret and got that kill. And they secure a double on the bottom side of the map as well. Meanwhile, on top, Mordekaiser has invaded the enemy jungle, got a blue buff on himself, which will help keep his cooldowns low, even though he doesn't get any benefit from the mana. At least it'll keep it from their eyes. You don't want to rise with a blue buff and a cooldown. That's something that's a pain to deal with. And now Nerval rotates to take a dragon. Ahri's now picked up her first major item, which is a Luden's Echo, which is going to make that lane even harder to deal with. It took Mordekaiser a lot of health to kill blue buff, but he finally managed it. So now we want to see if he returns to lane, because if he gets killed right away, he's going to transfer that blue buff onto Cho'Gath, and that's something you don't want to deal with either. So if we take a look at our bottom lane now, that farm has evened out a bit. It's 42 to 67 now, so still a 15. Oh, pulls in Cho'Gath. Is he going to get eaten? Oh, he flashes before the eat comes off, which is a very good choice, because if he got eaten, again, that's a blue buff transfer. Okay, Ashe managed to clean up almost that entire wave under turret. They're Ashe's CSing really well. So it's a 30 CS lead now. But a kill and 3 assists onto Xayah means that lane is basically even. Another attempted engage by Nautilus misses, and an engage by Cho'Gath does not. But that's exactly what Ahri wanted, and so the engage happens. Mordekaiser pops ult, and Cho'Gath eats him. So now it's up to Ahri to finish that fight. So the blue buff got transferred onto the Cho'Gath, but it got transferred back onto the Ahri. Meanwhile, bottom lane, though, they managed to kill the AD carry, so Xayah is out, and Leona managed to run for her life there. Almost managed to kill the Nautilus, if you see, but that is exactly the wrong target to be aiming at. Nautilus is bot, a Kindle Gem, which is health, 2 cloth armors, and a Relic Shield. He's straight tank. If you're putting stuff into him, Ashe gets more chance to use her straight attack damage build. So if you're bottom lane and you're fighting there, you really want to make sure you're tunneling the AD carry. Whenever you're skirmishing early game, as a bot lane player, you want to make sure you focus the AD carry. You might pull the support in to start a fight, but as soon as that happens, you want the AD carry. There are some edge cases where their AD or where their support is high damage, like if they got a pike or they got a Sona or something you want to deal with. But for the most part, AD carry, especially against like a Nautilus and Leona, AD carry is always your target. They get 2 plates out of that, though, which is going to be a big swing, but they stay a little bit too long, and Leona manages to get her stun off. Mordekaiser teleports into the bottom, and there's a full 4v2 happening down there, and that's a double. Now, are they going to convert this into an objective? Wait and see. Looks like they're just leaving. Bottom lane is going to turn it to CS, but Amumu and Mordekaiser are heading back to put pressure on the map somewhere else. Ooh, Ahri throws up the stun and just misses. Amumu throws up the stun and just misses. Amumu walks forward and gets the ult, and that allows Mordekaiser to pull him in, and they pop the mid laner. And again, you've got a kill, but what are you going to do with it? If you don't convert these kills into objectives, you're not doing much. That being said, bottom lane's about to take their first turret. Amumu has stayed in the mid to work on that turret, which is an excellent plan. And Mordekaiser will get back in time to soak most of this second wave before it crashes. They might even get this mid turret here. Actually, they should get this mid turret here. You can see they do have a deep pink ward in on the blue buff, which will help them see any rotations coming through if Kelvin decides to rotate. So I'm glad they have some deep vision in. But I mean, overall, the map is pretty dark. There's not a lot of wards out right now on Nerval's side, which is something we're going to have to work on. Whew. There's the knockup by Cho'Gath. He pulls the trigger on Mordekaiser again. So he's now scaled to the point where he's winning these fights. But with Amumu there to apply pressure and Ahri there to make sure things don't go that well, that's a lot of crowd control for the Cho'Gath to deal with. And he's down. Kill goes on to Ahri. And so now they're going to start working on the outer top turret. So Nerval doing a great job of rotating objectives. Group up, take bottom. Move to mid. Group up, take mid. Group head to top. Group up top, take top. And so they're just ensuring that they're... Mordekaiser's going to maybe die to turret. Okay, now the minions are there, you need to back out. Part of the challenge is making sure you're jungling the aggro correctly, so making sure that when the minions are within range, you back out and switch the aggro back to minions. You don't want to take more turret shots than you need to, because they hurt. You can see that Nautilus has got his Demolisher on, and he's not had a chance to use it yet on this turret. He had to back out, because if they got engaged on under turret, they were going to have a really bad day. Ryze catches that pink ward and clears it out, so they get rid of that rotation vision for Nerval, which means Mordekaiser knows that Ryze is there, but has now lost vision of the area. So he's going to want to back out and place some more wards up if he's going to play safe on the top side. Looks like Amumu is working on the Rift Herald in the meanwhile. At bot lane, you can see the CS lead is wild. This Ashe is farming so well. She's 112 to 59. She's up like several kills worth of gold. But she's playing Ashe, who doesn't have a steroid or that much of a late game scale, and is more of a utility marksman, which is not ideal. Plus, with the amount of crowd control on Niverville's side, plus an Ahri, she doesn't have a lot of defense outside of Nautilus standing on her face. Ooh. Looks like... So Leona missed her stun, but Nautilus immediately went and tried to ult the Leona. So Nautilus ulting the Leona is basically what lost... Well, didn't lose that fight to start, but made sure they couldn't get out. They didn't lock up the damage champion, which means Xayah was free to continue to spam damage, and now Xayah's got 4 kills to her name. So that's a huge win for the bottom side. And if Nautilus had chosen to ult the AD carry instead, they might have been able to get out of that fight. In the meanwhile, Amumu secures Rift Herald in mid and then walks top to drop it. So they should get a mid turret out of this. And there it is. And now they're going to escort the mid all the way to the inhibitor turret. And it looks like Kelvin is waiting for them here. So Rift will charge, take off about a third of that turret's health. Ooh, that hit for way more than a third of its health. Youch. Ashe gets off quite a bit of damage using her range. Again, she's farmed enough that she's got an Infinity Edge already. All she needs is a little attack speed, and she will be going to town. But she shreds the Amumu. Rise manages to clean it up, but most of the damage is out of the Ashe. So the fight is happening. It's in full tilt. Mordekaiser uses the ult and pulls Ashe into the Shadow Realm. Manages to finish her off. Gets locked up under the turret and killed, though. Leona tries to drop some peel, but just a little bit too late. And it ends up being a 2-for-2. So considering it's a 5v4 fight, that is a pretty solid win for Kelvin. That being said, Ahri snakes a charm in there and manages to almost kill Rise. So now Rise and Cho'Gath both are effectively dead. And Nirville has to make a call. Do we wait around here and try and take this objective while the other guys heal, or do we back and go for something else? And Ahri seems pretty confident that she can just dash in and destroy Cho'Gath, so that's what she does. And now they can finish this turret. Again, Ashe putting out a lot of damage. Oh, but there's 3 members there. They get the lock up out of Leona and manage to drop the Ashe. Rise now putting out some damage. Like, they have a fair amount of damage on their side. They just can't seem to coordinate it with their crowd control at the right time. That was a really nice bait by Ahri to wait around that corner, knowing they were going to chase the Leona. Meanwhile, in Dragon Pit, Amumu playing his own game of League of Legends, secures a dragon. So it looks like Mordekaiser hanging around in the mid lane with no team support 3 versus 1 does not seem like the greatest idea. Like, if Nautilus had pulled him in there, he would have been dead. Like, luckily for him, Kelvin does not know that Nirville's team is literally back in their base. Otherwise, he would have been killed a long time ago. And he's not really accomplishing much there. Like, he's just watching his minions die. You gotta pick an objective you can actually take. Now he's been engaged on. There's the knockup, there's the slow. He's dead and there's no one to back him up. That could have happened 30 seconds ago. It wouldn't have made a difference. Now, Amumu's finally arrived. Gets a 4-man ult, which is fantastic. Ahri hits the charm, manages to burst the... Oh, and there the fight continues. Cho'Gath finally drops, so you can see that Xayah's got quite a bit of damage out there. And that is a 4-man kill, so that would be an effective ace, seeing as their Warwick is unfortunately disconnected. And they're pushing for base. Respawn timers are still fairly short, we're only 20 minutes in, so they'll be up within 10 seconds, but they should be able to get at least one of these turrets, I would think. So one's down. Their tank's taking quite a bit of damage, and the other team's respawning, and so they need to back out. And let's see if they make the call. No, they're just hanging out here. And there's the engage. So Ahri was caught out, was not forward enough. Ashe starts putting out damage. With her slow, she flashes for it, and that's the end of Ahri. So again, the team does not make a call together to back out. Half of them stay, a couple of them start backing, one of them gets picked, and they give up a kill they didn't need to give up. So just some more clear shot calling on the side of Nirville would make these games a little bit cleaner. But on their way back, they're gonna, clean up the dragon. If you look, the last dragon was the Infernal. And it looks like it's cleared out a lot of the jungle here. Oh, this is a bait in the bush. Leona dives the backline, gets some lockup on the AD carry, so Ashe drops. They start working on the Nautilus next as he's the nearest target. The Amumu finishes him off, but the Leona ult made sure she wasn't going anywhere, and that's 2 down, and now they're going to push to finish. They don't have minions, though. There's nothing they can do. They're grouped here with no minions, and the minion wave is literally in the middle of the map right now. So just standing there, you're just waiting for the other team to survive. You should probably be putting pressure somewhere else on the map. If you've got your minion wave pushing top or bottom, you'd have a second objective to take, but they have nobody taking control of minion waves. Ashe has effectively quit. She has switched to a bunch of Dark Seals. I think she knows this game is over. So she's re-itemizing for the late game troll. Amumu goes in, 4-man ult. Zaya starts splashing damage through there. And first one to drop is Ashe, which is awesome. You see the Frost Ninja goes down. Ryze actually secures that kill there. Mordekaiser has pulled Cho'Gath out into the Shadow Realm and manages to get the kill, but is still taking turret hits. He's probably going to drop the turret. No, he gets out. Ryze is still up. Artie gets the charm on him, though, and he's going to run back to Fountain. Is it enough? Oh, Tasty Orange just clips him with the last of that true damage, and that finishes him off while the team takes the turret. And that should be game. Too good of build. Don't end dance party. That's a classic. Well, good game to everybody. Everyone did really well, and good game to Kelvin as well. Sorry about the DC. That is unfortunate, but you guys played well. I wish you the best in the rest of your tournament. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll have a second playoff game tomorrow. Same time, we'll be starting around 4:30 and another best of 3. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.